Hola, hola amigos, ¿qué tal de Real Fanboys? Pues ahora les traigo un especial. Esta es una sesión grabada y les voy a invitar, tengo dos invitados especiales que son de Transformers. Ellos es de ahí del Valle Imperial y es acá del otro lado y otro es de Inglaterra. Entonces, para poder, esto va a ser en inglés, por favor pongan los subtítulos, ahí lo voy a poner. Amigos, bienvenidos a The Real Fanboy Show con mis buenos amigos de los Transformers Generación 1. Hey Vic, welcome to the channel.
Hello.
Hello guys and everybody, and we opened our red carpet for Russ, and
Hi.
hey, how's it going, Russ? And he's from England.
Yes,
How's it
that's
going,
correct.
Russ?
You don't need to put the red carpet out for me, but that's very nice. Thanks very much.
Well, I mean, we're delighted. Thank you for taking this time and being part of this channel, and hopefully there you get more viewers. This is a Latin. We speak mainly Spanish, but
Okay.
we do try and open our doors to everybody and showing that we are true fanboys and we are fanboys from your channel, and definitely somewhere you can go and see all these amazing finds that you have. And like I was saying a little bit before, you're an ambassador, and we are grateful because you're doing this. And like myself, like Victor, we do it because we love it. It's not that people are trying to gain money. It's more that we are loving this part, sharing the what we have. And well, Victor can testify. He's my partner in crime because we shop, we go to these conventions. He always reminds me of Transformers and stuff. What's going on? What's the new? What's the old? And he's my partner. So go ahead, Victor. Good.
Well, hello everyone. Victor Pina here once again. Your friendly neighborhood teacher from Calexico. Uh, as you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I was a Transformer fan in 1984. I was about 9, 10 years old when that all happened. So same as my two gentlemen here next to me. And I've tried to continue to pursue that passion. I did introduce it to my son and to everybody else that is in my family, and some of them did pick it up, not as passionate as I have, but it's a privilege to be here with Russ. Great guy. I've seen his videos since the first one he put up there. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing a shirt that my wife ordered for me last year from England. This is actually came from over there. So yeah,
That's amazing.
she bought it, and actually, there's two of them. I have the Decepticons. These are the Autobots, of course, the main line, the first ones. So I like, hey, what am I gonna wear today? What am I gonna wear? And you know what? I know exactly what I'm gonna wear. It's a gift that my wife gave to me, and she ordered from England. So thank you, Russ, for being here, and I hope that we have a fantastic show. And I don't know how much we can talk in the few hour or two that we're going to be here. So um, we'll see. But thank you, Russ, for being here.
No, again, thank you to you guys for having me. Yeah, it's took a long time. I can only apologise for that. We should have done this way sooner. Of course, we've got the time barrier, but it's now worked out really well between us. I'm totally honoured that you've called me an ambassador, but I want to completely echo exactly what you said. All of this whole YouTube, this whole everything it's for fun. I genuinely love doing it. I genuinely love picking up any figure, and I can talk about it for 2-3 minutes because I do put a lot of videos up. People say, how do you do it all the time? It's just my daily routine now. I'll pick up a figure and I'll talk about it because I genuinely love it that much. I get so much nice comments and feedbacks like from yourselves, just saying, just bringing people back to G1, isn't it? Because as I say, I'm a little bit younger than you. I was 5 in 1984, and that's when it started. I was incredibly lucky, and I've said in one of my videos that my mum, bless her, in England and the UK, we don't really get many toy stores, but she travelled a whole day to get me Optimus Prime. It took about 3.5 hours to go up and 3.5 to come back to get me an Optimus Prime for Christmas '84, and that's it. This is exactly, as I say, what I like to give back as well, and I love the figures just as much as you guys.
Yes. So that's your first Transformer was Optimus Prime.
It was Optimus Prime and Megatron. I was very lucky. I had both for Christmas.
Excellent. Myself, Megatron and Grimlock. That was my
Wow.
first. How about you,
Wow.
Victor?
Mine was, of course, Wheeljack and Grimlock.
Grimlock. Yes.
Wow.
So that's what we have something, like a Megatron with you and
Yeah.
Grimlock with you, Victor. So
And what my
yes.
I was going to say, my birthday's in March. It was only 3 months after, and I'm pretty
Oh,
sure that I had Grimlock for my birthday as well. So definitely. So there you go. There's the tie-in with that.
excellent. Now we were talking about now that you mention it, is having that time to be able to put these videos. How this is like a big hard question. How does your wife bear with you doing this?
It's you know what, I'm really really lucky.
We are.
Yeah, I suppose when I started it, because I still haven't been doing my videos for 2 years. I started doing them properly March 2 years ago, which it coincided with the lockdown, the main lockdown from COVID. So it was a way of keeping myself busy. My son was involved as well, and yeah, it just started. She's brilliant, to be fair. I mean, she puts up with. Let's be honest, it's a full room. It is a full room that it could be used as a guest room. It could be used as something else. So I'm really lucky that she puts up with it. I mean, sometimes I hold my hand up. I spend a little too long in here, shall I say? Um, but yeah, I'm really lucky that she supports it. And funnily enough, she supports these videos and the things more because again, she likes to see and she likes to read some of the nice messages that I get sent and people just thanking me, which is, it's again, it's just nice to make people happy, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And like I said, we are lucky. Victor, I know his wife. She's a beautiful and he's lucky to have somebody who supports him in everything that he does. And also myself, I'm lucky that my wife, she and my kids are kind of grown up already. I have my son who travels with me at work, and we're lucky. We're lucky to have the girls that we have. I
Yeah,
mean, without their support, and it's very important, have a good, solid support, be able to take all this, having room full
yeah,
of toys.
literally taking over a room. It's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, we are lucky. We definitely are lucky.
Yes, and so normally when you're trying to find all these like amazing stuff, you'll browse the internet and find most of them there, or where do you get like
To be
basically the
honest, yeah, to be honest, it is because again, the funny thing about this, and obviously, again, I sort of just appeared. I had loads of people just sort of message me like, "Where have you been? Where like some people are confused. Some people might have thought that I've won the lottery and I just brought it all at once. But same as you guys, I mean, this is about. So I had them when I was young, sold them all like we just discussed, and then started getting heavily back into them in the early 2000s, and then it just escalated from there. And I don't know, as I've said on other shows that because I got into the variants and got into that, I learned very quickly that the Italian word for box was scatola. And I learned a little bit of Spanish as well. But this was back, you might not know this because obviously you guys in America and that, you've just got ebay.com, haven't you? Which is the huge one. Whereas in Europe, before Brexit, there was eBay Netherlands, eBay Italy, eBay Germany, eBay UK, eBay France, all of them. There was like 6 or 7 of them. So, and they were all independent. Whereas now you can just, like on your search bars, you can just click Europe or world. Well, sorry, worldwide.
Right.
Won't it be worldwide for you? So, and yeah, that's how, again, that's as well how I managed to find so many really, really cheap bargains because, some figures in England are quite common. Whereas, again, the brilliant examples between America and a Swoop in the UK is so expensive. I mean, that's probably not a good example because he damages easy, but Swoop wasn't released in the UK. So his prices over here, you'd pay so much money for a Swoop, whereas he's quite common over there for you guys. And I just worked out doing that with the different languages. It was good because I was picking up Italian gig variants for a start, but then other things as well. You could pick up figures that you could use, you could trade, or you could, like yourselves, you could get it for somebody else. And I found one in France. It's half the price of England. Let's get it. And that's probably it. If I'm being honest, yeah, just literally, as I say, browsing the internet and different eBays and different languages.
excellent. Something you want to ask, Victor?
now that you're talking about variants, one of the things that that's where I'm going into myself as well, is how difficult is it to find specific variants. For example, I was lucky. What got me into variants was actually finding Cyclonus, the blue ear Cyclonus.
Yep.
I actually got that before I even got the regular Cyclonus. So I think I was at the right place at the right time. How difficult is it for you over there to find these variants?
Again, we're much smaller, and we don't have like flea markets. We have a similar thing like to a thrift shop, I think you call it. We don't have garage sales,
Yeah.
but our charity shops, which is what your thrift stores are, there's never any toys in there. There's just, honestly, there's no toys at all. So again, I think the variants, I think we were quite lucky in the one aspect though, because some of the Mexican variants, they made their way over because they made their way to England, but a bit later on they were all over here about so Wave Series 2, which was 1985 or whatever, was coming out in here with the red stickers on them in like 1988 and 1989. And then I don't know what it was that got me into variants. I think because it's unusual, isn't it? I think because you look at it and you think, why is that different? Sometimes you can't even see it. Sometimes you're looking at it and you're like, what's different? And it's something really silly. And then, that's the hunt for me, because that's the challenge, isn't it? I love it.
Yeah,
It is.
it is.
It is. Now, how many Optimus Prime variants there is that you counted?
For me, I've got 16 different boxes, different box ones, and another 3 different loose. So I've got 19, and they're all Generation 1 from 1984 to 1990. So I don't count Generation 2s, I don't count the classic reissues, I don't count any of the others. So they're specifically vintage in that 6-year time frame.
Wow.
So
I only got 3.
You got 3.
I only got 3, but they're the G1 that came out. I think I got the 1985 release.
Yeah.
I have the 1980s. I guess when the movie came out here, we didn't have like a Goodbye Convoy, nothing like that. We had just a regular release. And I have the CJ. I'm sorry,
CJ. Yeah, CJ. It's
CJ.
okay, it's CJ.
I have the Bluefoot. That's the one I have.
Okay.
That has 4 languages on the back.
That's it.
That's
one's
the one.
I know you're on about. There's 3 CJs over here. There might be more. Somebody might correct me. And obviously there's the Redfoot CJ, which is the rarest.
Right.
Then there's the standard CJ, and obviously CJ for us is very standard because France for us is so close. So I would say 80% of the Optimus Primes in the UK would just be standard T2 CJ figures, and then of course there's the 4-box one, which is more mainland Europe. Sorry, the 4-language box. That's more mainland Europe for that, because on the 4-language there's not English, is there? So it's more mainland. Yeah. Funnily enough, there's no English on it at all.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's very unique, and that's the thing that you have. Fortunate that we were able, like we were talking about Victor and myself, that a lot of the Mexican material or what was shipped to Europe because it wasn't selling so good as they thought in Mexico, because they're financially not able to buy all this. Some people did, but a lot of merchandise was rerouted to Europe, and that's, I guess, how you wind up getting a lot of Mexican stuff around in Europe, like we were talking about, Victor.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. They're not common, of course they're not common, but they pop up here again when I'm searching on eBay. I'll always type in IGA or whatever, and then I'll start my search UK, then I'll go worldwide, and then Europe, then I'll go worldwide, and there's always only 3 or 4. Again, it's not a huge amount, but there's more that tend to pop up in the UK, I think, because of that reason that you've said. And obviously everybody knows and has heard about the fact that we had all the red stickers on them and everything, the safety tested stickers and all that. So it's easy to find the ones that come in the UK because they've got that sticker on. Do you know which one I mean?
Yes.
You don't? Yeah,
yes,
that's okay. I was going to say I can show you
the red, like Top Spin has the red face.
No, but there's an actual sticker.
Yeah. But they have a sticker on the top.
Safety, it says safety tested. Yeah. That's okay. I
Yeah,
was
because
going
of
to say I
lead.
can show you if you want to see it.
Because
But
of
yeah,
lead.
they
yeah,
cover sometimes the languages, or they cover, yes, we used to have, they used to call them trilobos. I don't know how you say them, Victor. That have three languages that normally were still, like, they have Portuguese, Spanish, and I forgot which is the other language, but normally they had like a sticker added to it when they used to sell them
yeah,
right in Mexico, and to show that they have extra in Spanish, all their precautions and all warnings. They have like an extra label. Yes,
yeah,
we ran into that. Normally when you, like, Star Wars had a Lily, and Transformers has Iga, so there was that difference. Sometimes they ship some American version, and they had some stickers just to put that warning label and the years and everything on Spanish.
yeah.
So yes. Now, my one of my questions is, what do you where do you see yourself in the future with so much that you're, I mean, it is an avalanche. I see every day your videos. To me, thank you for saying it again. Thanks. But I see every day you're getting one. To myself, I probably get one every week, or one different. And I'm not talking just Transformers, but, and it gets crazy because sometimes I'm like, what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna base all this, where I'm running out of space, literally, and that's the killer for every collector. Where are you gonna fit all the new stuff?
Well, funnily enough, it's funny you should say that because and I've started to do it already, and I've started to mention in my videos that I brought. And again, I'm not one of these movie bashers. I don't want people to think, oh, I'm the Bayverse films are the Bayverse films. I watch them; they're okay, but probably the same as you guys. I mean, I don't know. I brought a lot of the Bayverse figures because as soon as the movies come out, we already knew that Generation One values of figures was starting to raise, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So I brought a lot of them, but again at discount prices, like you were saying, you found that discount one at Walmart. Now there's when I used to work in my old gym, I suppose a UK equivalent. Well, the UK shop's called B&M, which is basically like a bargain or a discounted store. So let's say, for example, I can't even think. If they were mainline, then within 2 years' time, if there was any still available or still left, they would appear in these shops heavily discounted. So, I mean, it was next door to me. I was literally working in the gym next door. So I'd pop in, and like we were talking about the figures that you were saying, I'd be buying movie figures for, £4 or £5, mint and seal card ones, like your brand new Wheeljack you were on about earlier. So I was just buying them, and that's what pretty much all this side is now. Excuse me. Um, Never really with the intention of keeping them. I like them; they look good. I did in the end get way too many and had to buy store racking to stick them on, but because of the prices I was paying, it was just an investment. So I've already started now. The movie figures are slowly going. I'm not saying I'll never buy them again, but they're slowly going. And yeah, so I've had to, for the first time since I've been doing this, I've been collecting probably about 20 years, and I've always been able to. I've managed to find them. Again, the shop racking was a brilliant example. I ran out of space, so I brought some shop racking to hang them on. But now the space is gone, so it's a case of some I have to sell. I've got to be realistic. I've got to sell, and I don't really want to put them in boxes in storage somewhere, just to rot away or never see them again. So at the moment, I'm comfortable with selling the movies. If we get to some of the, I don't know. At the moment, I'm comfortable, so it's all right.
Victor, you got another question?
Well, mine's always about the collection, man. It's like I said, I mentioned it before. It's an amazing collection. But the ones that always caught my attention, and maybe this is because back in the day, I kind of kicked myself, because I should have bought them back then. I should have grabbed them because I saw them here. And I'm talking about the gold box Transformers. And we're
Okay.
talking about the different variants that actually popped out. Here
Yeah.
in Calexico, we actually we have a couple of well, it's no longer there, but we had, I'm not kidding. I saw the aerial bots in gold box in Spanish. I saw the ones in UK. I saw the ones, and the reason why we were getting them here is because a lot of the vendors
Yeah.
are from Japan or China. We have a lot of our population here in downtown Calexico of merchants is diverse. It's a very diverse town when it comes with Asian population. So when I saw, I even got some Turbo Masters I saw as well. And I just like, okay, I was in high school. I was like, I'm the cool guy. I'm not gonna be, with figures. I'm dating. I'm looking at girls, but now that I've realized, I'm like, why didn't I pick them up? Now, my question to you is, I seen them, and you have them, the different variants of these gold box, wheeljacks, tracks, I believe Prowl, and what is the main difference between these two type of variant or different types of boxes? Is it just a language, or is there something else that came that was different?
That's a great question, actually. That's a great question. So with like mainly the Autobot cars, it is just literally the language. So you've got Spanish box, like you say, French box, and UK one.
Dutch.
Dutch, yes, yeah, because I've got 3 jazzes. But then when it came to things like the throttle bots and the throttle bots, for example, some had rub signs, some had stickers, some had indentations, and then either one. And the difference between the and I'm funny enough, I literally did a video 2 days ago on the Combaticons. So the Combaticons so there's no indentation for the rub sign to go in. So they just so they did actually change the mold slightly. So
Nice.
I can. Do you want me to show you? It's literally there. I can show you one.
Hey, by all means. This is the only throttle. No, actually, I have more. But I picked this one up at a thrift shop.
There you go. Yeah, and
my brother. I don't remember. I told you my brother picked it up for my birthday, and but when I saw his, amazing.
So obviously the 1986 versions, this is Brawl.
Yes.
So there's obviously the indentation at the bottom of Brawl where you put the rub sign at the front of the tank. If I can get this to zoom in, see there's no indentation and there's just the sticker. So that's where the rub sign would be in the 1986 version. So they took the rub signs off and they just put a standard sticker in. There you go.
Okay, I see it. Which version is that?
And as you say, so this is the Spanish one. So you guys can definitely read this one.
I have that one. I have that one.
And then
I just
again,
didn't
the
notice.
same was, and then didn't notice it. And then of course there's just the English one as well. It's exactly the same, just different writing. But they're different, as you say, they're different to the original releases. So they're different to the 86 releases. The other thing as well is none of these have got the metal tread, the tracks. Because obviously the first editions, the first releases of the Combaticons had metal parts, and then they subsequently released them all with plastic parts, like the metal chests for the protector pots and stuff. Brawl had metal treads when he was first released.
Now on these releases, do they have a launching? Like I know the Japanese had a launching.
They did, but they
for
don't.
The vehicles, like for Scramble City.
Yeah,
I know. Some do not have that, but I was wondering if the Onslaught that was released on that box, did it come with a mechanism?
It didn't. No, it didn't. Funnily enough, the only one that I'm aware of is, funnily enough, I've got something coming in the post, so I might. Takara. Takara is the only one I can confirm. The gig version, the Italian version, which was of course the Multiforce set, may have. I can't confirm that because I don't own that, but I would imagine so, because obviously Gig was completely licensed by Takara. They used the same little boxes, they did everything the same, didn't they? So I would imagine. But the weird thing as well is, talking about the reissues, I was lucky enough to pick up Great Cannon the other day from Battle Gaia, the blue Onslaught from 1990.
The blue one.
I've got one of him, and that's obviously from Japan, but that doesn't, and it's a Japanese exclusive, but that doesn't have the launching mechanism either.
Wow.
Yeah,
I imagine because that's when they redo the mold, I guess, right? Because it was done for United States, and they kept just using the same mold.
That's someone's left a really good, interesting comment, talking, because again, we were talking literally only about this. I put Battle Gaia up last week. Sorry, not Battle Gaia, Great Cannon. And I mentioned in the video, I was like, it's interesting that there's no launching mechanism with it being Japan. And what you've just said there with where you are, where you're getting all the multi-language stuff, I suppose the best way I can put it is the gold boxes, which were the European versions, are no different really as in the products. The products are pretty much exactly the same as what we know as the 1990s Chinese reissues. You know, with the Chinese sticker, it's just the fact
Yeah, on
that
the
for
top.
Europe,
Yeah.
for the Europeans, we got all bright gold boxes, whereas, you know, the rest of the world or whatever got the Chinese reissues with, as you say, the normal boxes just with the sticker on the top.
Mm-hmm.
So by that time, obviously, they weren't using the launching mechanism. So when they did Great Cannon for Battle Gaia, they didn't put the launching mechanism in that one either.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's crazy. That's just mind-boggling. You know, what the different types of variants that within something like the Combaticons. That like I actually have a Bruticus, excuse me, but I also have Ruination. That's the one that
Yes.
came out here later as
Yeah.
a different color scheme, and it did not have the launching.
I literally think it was just Takara's first runs, and again of the four main ones. So your Motormaster, Onslaught, Silverbolt, and Hotspot. None of the others, even subsequently, I think afterwards I ever had them. But I've got Takara Bruticus box set and Onslaught, and they both have the launchers on them.
All
Cool.
right.
All right. So, Russ, tell me, which is the transformer that you consider it's the holy grail for you? Which is like oh, this is my. I know that Scarpanuck is your favorite,
Yeah.
but which one is for you? Like, this is like the only one I've seen, and probably I will never get it again.
I'm really lucky that I managed to get one of them, but there's still one figure that's eluding me, and it's funny, like what you should say, because I was. It's one of the. It's named Browning. It's Browning from Super God Master Force. I love that.
Mm.
Obviously, the little gun. And again, you know, you're saying you kick yourself and that. I was bidding on it. And it got to a price, and I thought, nah. And I left it. And then, as you do, and then you look back now and you think, I mean, it wasn't even like years and years ago. It was probably it's probably about 5 or 6, but it wasn't like decades ago where there was like
Right.
huge differences. Obviously, something that you were bidding on in the early 2000s is totally different to now. But it couldn't have been much later than 2016, 17. It couldn't have been. And again, I was just like, I suppose I had to be sensible. I was like, that's my cutoff. I need to be sensible. Especially with, obviously, you guys use the Japanese websites as well. I think what they do differently to eBay is brilliance. If you don't know, or for any of your viewers who don't know, you can't bid until you put the money in first. So there's none of this, you know, when someone buys, then you get a message 2 days later, I'm not paying, or they just don't pay at all. If any of the Japanese websites, that you have to put the money in, and it only lets you bid to what you've got. So I think that's much better, and it got to where I was prepared to go to and no more. So yeah.
Oh man,
that's my white whale at the moment, Browning.
Browning. It is one of. I told Victor that's one of my ones that I really want. It doesn't matter. Well, to me, it's. I know realistically to get a first edition or a die code, it should be virtually impossible sometimes because nowadays that everybody knows what's transformer. With the touch of your phone, you can find out if it's a transformer, what's the price, and stuff like that. So back in the day, it was much easier. And before the internet, how did you? I know that you like your first vintage. How was your information besides to get started the vintage part?
I suppose before the internet, I would probably be lying because, as I say, I didn't really start collecting properly as an adult until the early 2000s. So I was really sort of quite lucky. And when I started collecting, it was probably the same as your guys. My first thing was I wanted the ones which I had when I was a kid. So that's all I really wanted. I was like, I remember them, I want to get them. And then it was like, well, we couldn't afford so and so I want that. And then it was silly things like I said, Swoop and the Constructicons weren't released in the UK, so I really wanted them, so I got them. So I was really lucky that the variants that I wasn't searching for them, and I've got one of them true horror stories as well to sort of tell you in a minute as well about variants. So first, of course, I didn't know. I had no idea, and I wasn't really bothered. I was just like, I want to get this, I want to get that, and then I was buying like probably like you guys do, like you say, sometimes buy 2 or 3 things, keep the one, sell the other on, etc., etc. And I was doing that just to fund it, and that's how it all sort of started. But there was this so early on, I was really lucky that I didn't need to know, shall I say, about the variants. But this is where it's what I'm about to tell you now is exactly why, because I was really fortunate. I found a collection on eBay, and it was massive, it was huge, and I contacted him and we worked something out. He was brilliant. I told him, look, I'm not a dealer, which I'm not. It's going to mainly be for me, because he'd only been speaking to dealers and they'd been lowballing him like ridiculously low prices. And I said, well, you know, we worked out a price anyway, and he agreed to let me pay. Of course, I didn't take it with me. I wasn't going to. He let me pay in installments until I could finish paying it off. And he knew I was going to sell a few things because he was a bit like us. But he had like 5 box Jetfires. It was crazy. He literally did. And they were all the same. They weren't different. They weren't like the Macross one, which I had to search years for. But he was just a bit of a collector. He just started buying loads and loads. And so I was selling a few of the things on. And this is my actual thought process. And you guys, you'll laugh when I say this. So I had a couple of. There was definitely a smoke screen. There was definitely a hoist, a grapple, and 2 of the Seeker jets. And they were in, and I don't mean any offense when I say this, they were in my head. I was like, oh, they're in Spanish language. No one's going to want these. Of course, we now know that they're all Mexican ones. And I can say that I sold all of them. And then I think what it was, I was like, why did that sell? Like, I sold a Skywarp and a normal Skywarp, and of course the Mexican Skywarp was like 3 times the price. I was like, what's going on here? But then by that time it had all gone, and it was that experience for me that made me think, right, I need to look at these. I need to look at exactly what I've got. And I think that was for me. I was lucky enough that by the time I'd realised that was about 2007, 2008, that I was lucky enough to just type into whatever and find out something about it. So I was quite lucky.
Excellent.
But it's not excellent because I sold a Mexican Prowl and smokescreen boxed. I know I did.
Wow!
I know I did. It happened to all of us. Sometimes we were. It's a learning curve that we don't know what we sometimes have, and we trade it or sell it, and then I had that guy and I gave it away or sold it to somebody, and but I mean, truly not related to Transformers, but I had the double extension Vader in my hand.
Oh yeah. So I know that.
Well, that one I gave to not gave. I let my friend have it, and he told me, you don't know what you're giving me. Like, it's okay, you're my friend, and he has that double sworded lightsaber Vader. So
wow, I've seen the telescoping Vader. Yeah, wow.
Yes. Something else, Victor? You want another question?
No. Now that he was talking about, selling stuff that you don't know what you had, I think we spoke this yesterday or the day before.
Yes,
I had all the well, there were reissues, and to me reissues are reissues, but I didn't know how important these reissues were, and they were the collectors, the ones that came out, the color accurate Astro Train. I had the Orion packs, the e-hobby issues. There you go, and I sold them without knowing at one point what was I selling. So now I know, and I think I only kept the twin cast, the blaster version one.
Yeah, that's it.
I have that one, and I kept all the reissues of the Autobots. I kept all the cars. I kept the Gold Jazz, of course.
Yep.
But I let go of some Pinnacle, some key things I should have stayed with.
Yeah. So e-hobby have done. E-hobby, like, it's funny you should talk about this because I'm talking about e-hobby a lot at the moment. They've just gone straight up because I think the interest's gone. And again, I can remember looking on Japanese websites. They were, because of course they were normal. They were released in Japan as normal figures. So over there, when you were looking on the websites, I mean, they worked out. They were just normal retail prices because they'd come out. They were a little bit marked up because they were like special edition. But again, I looked at them and thought, nah, not interested. I mean, the amount of times I saw that Astro Train, Hauler, all of them,
The
Road
mini
Rage, all of them.
pods.
Thought, that's
The
it.
mini
Mini.
pods.
I got that.
Oh,
I managed to get it back.
oh,
Yeah,
good.
the GoBots one. The GoBots one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
GoBots. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bug Bite and
Crazy.
all those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. It's you look back and you're like, oh, what did we do?
It's our regrets. That's our regrets for it's the learning curve that like we already said it. But it's amazing. And now this is the next question. I know that it does it. This has like a door where you go to your special room. Is it enclosed? Do you lock it? Um, because now I know you have your son. He is 8.
No,
I
he's six.
believe.
He's 6. He was 6 in September.
Oh, sorry, 6,
Yeah,
turning 6, and now there's a baby in the way.
that's it.
How? Because I had a situation that I have a uh that Optimus Prime that got released in Toys R Us, and my daughter went and ripped the front part that I had to glue
Yeah.
afterwards. So, um, do you lock
Do you know
your
what?
room?
I know exactly what you're going to say, and it's something that I was really, really worried about. So I've got a little boy who's 6. I've got a little girl who's 3, and as you say, I've got one on the way. She's due in April. And
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
thank you. I don't think anybody knows that, but there you go. Now the world does.
I know.
Well,
Sorry.
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Of course, it's fine. I just haven't said it on my channel. That's all. Of course, my friends and family know, but I haven't said it on my channel yet. And I was really worried. I was really worried that I was going to have to. I was panicking, and I'm just. I'm tempting fate here now. I know I shouldn't. I need to find some wood or something. But my little boy, because he appreciates them, and like he comes in here and he's so good, and so's my little girl. To be fair, he's like, I've got this little swindle figure that's funnily enough not here because she's had it today. So if she comes in here with me and I'm doing anything, I can just give her this little swindle figure, and she's more than happy. She's only 3. She's like, oh, Daddy's robot, and like he was the same, and I'm just really lucky. I'm totally tempting fate. What I will be more worried about is when he gets to an age when he knows how much they're worth and he needs money. That's what I'm more worried about.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say that. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Of course he will. But that's the thing, isn't it? When they're kids, they just want to play. When they get to like 15 and they're like, I need a new pair of trainers. No, he won't do it. He won't do it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
speaking of that, do you have an inventory? You have a list of everything you have right now? Like I have an inventory. I've been keeping track of my stuff.
I had to, and again, joking apart, for exactly like what we're saying, touching wood again. You know, if I got a fighter and I went to the insurance company and I said 18 Optimus Primes, they'd be like, "Why have you got 18?" And they wouldn't believe it at all. But and then like 12 onslaughts, whatever, they wouldn't believe it. But like now, and because of this, and I show it all, so I can say it's there. So I've got it written down. And then obviously I've got lots of it on video as well. So it's I think it's imperative to have an inventory for all them reasons, and just for silly things like so you don't buy the same thing again.
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
To me, yeah. I wind up with like, why do I have 2 of these? Like, oh man. So and one part, it's an investment because I can sell one of those.
Yeah.
And that way I can buy another thing. But yeah, it's you winding up buying 2 of the same. It happens a lot to me.
I've done that before. It's like, why have I done that?
That's a good policy. That's I do the same. That's why I do it. It's not to make the mistake. But yeah, insurance. That's another reason why insurance wise. I just saw one of my friends from YouTube, who he put it up on his channel that they actually stole one of his collections. I believe there were some mechas, and they broke into his house. And unfortunately, I don't think he had insurance.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah. Now this is a question that I guess everybody who collects and has say boxed or mint condition figures. What do you think of having them graded? You think it's a good investment? or it's good or not? How what do you think of having gradient your figures?
Do you know, this is a really good question because, again, before I started doing my videos, if you'd have asked me 2 years ago, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. I just wasn't interested. I've got seal figures, and of course, but then funnily enough, I was talking to somebody, and I think, again, off the Facebook groups, because we were on lockdown, I was on Facebook a lot more. I was on these groups, and I stumbled across a couple of groups and a few people there, like Morgan Coiler, Cordy Humble, Richard Hewick, all these guys, as I say, big, amazing collections, lovely guys, so nice. They'll just stop and chat to you, and that was all they did. Obviously, like Richard Hewick's I saw his collection; it was pretty much all grade, and I thought that looks really good. But it's weird, and because it's not until you see one in hand that I think, obviously, it just looks so much better. It's really weird. It does look. I think some people get caught up about the grade that really bothers them. But what I tend to find that's somebody who's solely buying for investment or solely buying to sell on. And I can genuinely say, hand on heart, and I say it when I do my opening of them, I'm not bothered about the grade. All I'm bothered about, funnily enough, again, is preservation, and with the kids and all that sort of stuff. And they do protect it, and they do make it look so much better. So there's pros and there's cons. Of course, you have to pay a little bit for it. I think for preservation and for looking after it, I think it's a brilliant idea. For me, it's a bonus if I get a good grade. It doesn't really bother me because I'm not really looking to move them on. I'm not they're mine. They're something that I've spent a long time hunting down. So I think it depends on the figure and what you're doing. But yeah, that's a great question, and it's really funny how my attitude has changed completely over the last 2 years. And I do tend to get things graded if I can now, because again, it's that flip the coin, isn't it? So I spend the money on getting a figure graded, or do I put the money in a pot to buy a new figure? And at the moment, the new figures are winning.
And it's a great thing that you're mentioning about grading. And for those people, I know this is pre-recorded, but I recommend everybody go watch. There's a video that you put about grading. If you're grading in the UK, what's the process
Yeah,
when grading? And a lot of people don't
I've got
realize
this
that.
here.
Yeah,
I
and
was going
it
to
takes
mention that,
time.
but I was going to mention that as well, that I had to put, and I'm not bad mouthing them. I'm not bad mouthing them at all, but I was devastated to find out. You've probably not seen it, that well, at the moment they're so far behind. They're about 14, 15 weeks behind, and they opened up the package, and he's sitting there. It's gutting. I can't even look at it. I had a mint on seal card Canadian Huffer, and the bubble come off, and I know the bubbles come off. They do come off, but my issue was that it had been sitting on a shelf for 15 weeks because they're that far behind, and they didn't check the package when it arrived. So it was damaged. I mean, if they'd have opened the package when it arrived, they could have said, "Oh, it's damaged," and I could have done something about it. But because, as you've just said, with the time frame, with how long they have them, it was just a really unfortunate thing at the moment. But I think that for them, I think they really need to look at their policies, because you're sending them really expensive, valuable toys. Everybody is, not
Right.
just me. Again, imagine double telescoping mint on seal card Darth Vader. Can you imagine it? And a bubble falls off. And yeah, so it's right. It's something you need to be with. They're my prized possessions. They're things that, again, it's my thing that I'm going to stick on display. I'm not an investor, so for me, I think it was, and like Victor's just said, I think it's harder when it's yours. If I was just buying it to sell on, it would be a bit of like, oh, but because it's mine and I'd hunted it down,
Right.
it's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the reason why I'm asking is I just started to get. I only have one thing graded,
Yep.
one thing, and it's actually a comic book, and it's
Oh, nice.
Transformers. It's the one where the Dinobots first,
Okay.
show up.
Yep.
I got it graded. Well, I bought it graded,
Yep.
and it just preserves, like you
That's the
mentioned.
word.
And the next thing I'm trying to get graded. Now that it's funny that you said Huffer. I have a Huffer that I was gonna send out. I was gonna send out at a local place that they have in San Diego. San Diego, it's actually really close to where we're at. It's about an hour and a half
Yeah.
from here, and they have you drop off the stuff. But I
Is that
was
ASA?
always kind of like, yeah, and I kind of feel like, am I gonna wait 8 months to a year? Because that's what they told me. But when I saw your video, I'm like, wait, so maybe it's everywhere. Maybe it's
Yeah,
just that's gonna be a time, and I don't know what's gonna happen between now and a year when I
yeah,
get it
exactly.
back. So that was my I get a little bit of
Concern,
fear.
genuine
So I
concern. Yeah,
don't,
of course,
but it's an investment, like you just mentioned. But it's also the most important part is to preserve, and that's what I
100%.
want. I don't want this thing to break or to,
Yeah,
because I was lucky to get this one.
and let's be honest, as I say, sometimes even we know the oils in our hand will damage the boxes. So if it's in a plastic case, that's for me. It was. I don't want to be picking up my things with white gloves on. I know that other people will say, well, I don't want them in a box either. I want them to be able to hold them. But for me, just to hold it in that box, it's just as the presentation. You've got one now, Victor. You've seen one, so you'll know what I mean. In the UK, we pay an extra. It's only £2, and they do a cleaning service with it as well. So
Yes.
it's absolutely pristine. When they case it up, it's looking at its absolute best it could be, and preservation looks amazing as well.
Yeah, the process that they do, and I saw it with the comic books, how they press, they clean, and then they pack it up, and it looks beautiful. The
Yeah,
only reason why I want to get this one graded is because I already have two of them loose, and I've played with them. I've them on display, but
yeah,
this is the one I really want to send out. I want to send it out, and I want to, this is my son already knows about it. He's gonna get it, so I see it as an investment.
yeah.
Um,
Of course, of course. It's definitely an investment because the best thing about it is, and I know that again people will probably disagree with me or whatever, but the thing about getting it graded is it authenticates that is 100% never opened product. It's not a resale, and because not, I mean, I'm quite lucky. I've been, in all the times that I've been buying, I've never met an unscrupulous seller. But you hear it. You hear these horror stories of people buying figures, and sometimes they call them Frankenstein, don't they? You hear that they pieced them all together or whatever. Or I know somebody who brought something that he thought was sealed, and he checked and he looked at it, and you could tell it wasn't. You could tell it had been opened and resealed. So at least with the grading, hand on heart that it is 100%. It's authenticated as well. So yeah, so for an investment purpose, it's very good for that as well.
Definitely, definitely. It is for peace of mind, and
Yeah,
you're sure that if you're gonna pay top dollar, definitely go in that route. Myself, like I said, I'm more patient, and I tend to see and touch the boxes first, and then
yeah,
and that way I'll make sure that because it happened to me with some Dinobots that I bought.
yeah.
They weren't. They said they were boxed, but they were like I said, it happened to me exactly the way you
yeah,
describe it, and it's always better to see it and touch it. That's why we were lucky ourselves, Victor and myself, having these conventions, these local parks that they have a lot of transformers that where we can go and handpick and make sure that we're actually buying what's out there. And one of these situations is what you think about all the knockoffs. We always talk about this, Victor and myself. They are getting better and better at it, and having all these knockoffs around in the market, and they're actually having people buying them, saying that they are G1. What you
yeah.
think about all these knockoffs?
I think again, there's two ways to look at it. Number one, if they're selling it and they're pretending or saying that it's a vintage, then that's bang out. It's totally out of order. It's lying, and it's not acceptable. Um, Again, people ask me this all the time. Like, would I ever buy a knockoff? For me, again, you guys will relate to this straight away. The fun thing about collecting is the hunt. If it was just that simple that I could go, because I could buy a KO Browning tomorrow, right now, as soon as we finish, I could buy a KO Browning on eBay right now. But that's not a hunt to me, and it's not because I'm against knockoffs. It's not because, just for me, it's just, again, I want the hunt. I want to hunt it down. I want to find it myself. But they're brilliant for people who can't afford, or who can't find, or who don't want to find. And again, as long as people know that they're buying a knockoff, that's absolutely fine. But it's like you say, when you get the people there who are like, do you know what? I've had this conversation 3 times before Christmas because people sent me messages. Can you look at this first? And this guy was genuinely selling knockoffs, and he put in his listing found in the attic. No way. So you know the mini bots. Obviously, you can tell, can't you, by the hole punch? If it's not, they were all centralized. So they were all knockoffs straight away. You could see. And I messaged him, and he didn't reply. And then this other guy messaged him, and he didn't reply. So he was clearly just trying to, pull the wool over people's eyes and rip them off. And when people do that, that's what I can't stand, because it's nothing against it. If you'd have put it up there, this is a knockoff. People still buy knockoffs. You don't need to rip people off, do you? There's different categories of people, what people want. So they excuse me. They split the fandom as well. I think it was Morgan Coyler I mentioned as well. He on one of the Facebook groups, rightly so. He had a right rant about them, and he really hates them because in some ways they do damage the fandom, because there's nothing worse than you spending a couple of $100 on a figure that you've hunted for ages, and then 2 months later there's a Wei Zhang version for $20 and then because of that, even though it's a knockoff, because you can get it, the value of yours drops. And I see what he's saying, because
Right.
that's the thing, isn't it? That's the problem. It's the same with reissues. They're all the same, but I think there's a place for them, because I think people will always want them, because I think sometimes, as we've discussed, I think some of the prices are out of the range of a lot of people. But I think as long as the people who are selling them are open and honest and saying that, yes, this is a knockoff, then there's nothing we can do about it, because they're telling people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great view, how to see all these knockoffs that are out there. I personally did purchase one of them, and it was Optimus Prime. And
Yep.
the reason I bought it was to also educate myself, to see the different parts,
Yeah.
the box, of course. The giveaway was the box, of course,
Yeah.
but the toy itself, how it compared to a G1, or even reissues, because even the reissues have different diverse,
Yes.
the way they look. I know we here in the United States, we got a reissue of an Optimus Prime with a short smokestacks.
Yes.
That's because of issues with choking hazards and things
Yeah.
like that. There's another version of Optimus Prime. I think it was the 25th anniversary. I'm not sure. It came with a
Yeah.
comic inside, and it was the red. It's not really red. It's kind of like a pinkish red color, or
Yeah.
rose, more like a rose red. And that's, but it's more like, for me, it's more to educate myself and see the differences whenever I might find these,
Yep.
when I'm out and about at a thrift shop, at a swap meet, that someone's not trying to fool me and tell me, oh, this is a G1, it's about $400-500, when in reality it probably cost them $40-50.
Yeah, that's it. That's the problem. I completely agree. And again, I've got a good friend who I've met through doing this channel, and he's got lots of knockoffs, and I've started to try, but he didn't want to open them at the time. So I did videos showing the comparisons between the genuine boxes, just for people, as you say, to point things out. But we are going to do proper videos doing exactly that soon, as you say, to help educate. Because as you say, people, we don't really know, do we? It's not always as dead easy as let's pick up the stamp and have a look at the back of it, is it? So it's, like you said, they've got a place. And funnily enough, I mean, again, never say never. If my kids really, really get into them, then, and I see a really cheap knockoff Optimus Prime somewhere, then I'm going to get them that, aren't I? Of course I am.
Yes, definitely. It's a better way to get them into the Transformer verse,
Yeah.
and that way they won't damage a vintage one that
Yeah.
you might the price range of that compared to a knockoff. Here, there's a knockoff, you can play with it, and then they get the momentum, and then they start appreciating the original one. To me, it was for us, being in a border town, it happened a lot. We have a lot of KOs, like Victor said. We also have that Oriental, or a lot of Chinese people who have their stores and bring a lot of that, bring a lot of the knockoffs. And for a lot of people, like, back in the day, like, oh, it's the same thing, but they can play with it, and they used to give a lot of those. I used to be myself. It used to be like, don't buy me knockoffs. But I want the original. Back when I was little.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but now having the luxury of buying the originals and trying, like you said, the hunt, it is to me a lot of fun doing it, and we do have fun, Victor, and that's one of the stuff that we enjoy in going in trips. We've been in trips in January. That was December. We went to San Diego. We do our trip, hunting trip, and like I said, it is a lot of fun, and we invite everybody if you be able to, have somebody, a good friend of yours when you were little, or if not, Victor and myself met a couple of years when I was working at Toys R Us for 4 years. I met him there, and that's our relationship, grew, and now we always talk to each other like once a week at least, and our families met and everything, and we always, try it. Hey, you've seen this new, you've seen this TV program now, and that, and it's a good thing having all these groups and be able to talk to each other, and from information that, and like Victor's saying, um, there's a lot of stuff that people will try to sell you and not knowing the price, and they blow it up, and that's one of the things. What you think when people are blowing up something, you know, just saying, "Oh, it's a Optimus Prime," and it's like Victor said, it's a reissue, but they're trying to sell like it was a G1. What do you think of that when people are not knowing? I know not in a bad way, but they, because they don't know, they don't inform themselves, but having just blow up prices sometimes, or even knowingly they're blowing up prices and just putting it out of reach for or the rest of us. They're putting prices out of reach with the collectors.
Well, funny enough, there's you answered a bit of what I was going to say there. There's two answers to that. So obviously, the first and foremost is if they know they've got a knockoff and they're putting the price up really high, then of course then that's just not good. It's just not acceptable. And again, as you mentioned earlier, funnily enough, anybody could type in anything on their phone now. You type in the name of the figure and you find it. So let me see where I was going with this. Sometimes I think you're always going to get people, and there's a few sellers in the UK and I watch them all the time. And I don't know, maybe the English sort of saying for this would be like a chancer. Like they're chancing the luck. So you'll see, he'll get some stuff in, he'll put it in, and he'll put it at the absolute. It's not like the top end, but you think, oh, that's a bit expensive, and then nobody will bite. That's it. Nobody will bite, and then next week it's reduced by something. Then it's reduced by something. So again, you've got two types of sellers. You've got unscrupulous ones, or ones who just want to make some money, whether it's, even if it's legit, even if it's an original item, they want to make as much as they can, because all they're interested in is the sale. And then I think then what you've got is people perhaps like ourselves, because again, I sell some of my doubles, I help other people out. If I'm buying something from Japan, I'll buy a few more things, because again, I make it worth my while, or I'll get everybody to jump on board to save on shipping. And people like ourselves, we'll probably sell it on, probably not make anything at all, or just cover the cost of our shipping or whatever with it. So you've got the two different types of sellers. You've got someone who's a seller, and a seller foremost, and that's all they care about. They just want the money. And then you've got other people, I say, like us, who are collectors, and we appreciate that it's really hard to get hold of some figures. And I suppose in a way, and Victor, you may know him, and you may know him as well, Mike, I don't know, but the one guy I think who's been really good for this is Chuck Liu. And I'm not saying he sells KOs at all, he doesn't, but what I'm saying about him is he knows that he's got some figures that most people can only dream of. Some of his price, and that's not him, that's the going rate, that's the price of the figure. But the reason why, but he understands collectors, and he lets us pay in installments for it. Of course, you don't get the product until you paid for it, which is perfect.
Right.
That's how I got Big Powered. There's no way on this planet that I would have been able to get that unless he hadn't been really nice and done that for me. So it just comes down to that, and I hope I haven't segued him into the KO sellers at all, because he's not. All I'm trying to say is that you've got genuinely good sellers who will look out for you, and then you've got other people who are just trying to make some money.
Definitely, there's a lot of them. Yeah.
But we
Oh,
also have a lot of good ones. We also have a lot of
Yeah, that's
good
what I'm
people
saying.
out there in our
There's a lot
community.
of
That's
good
what I love
guys.
about.
I
Yeah,
think the
he's one of
best
them. I know
place.
there's a lot of other. Yeah, that's why I love going into Facebook. A lot of the communities that I go into.
Just
I
about
think
to
I'm in
say
about.
that.
Yeah. So he's yeah, great people out there. So
Facebook's the best. Facebook, I get asked all the time. eBay's okay, but it's a minefield because you don't really know. And again, even if you check what the actual sale prices are, when you check for sold to give you a rough idea, they're always up and down. I think the beautiful thing about the group is you can just go on and there's groups, as you say, there's everyone. There's Mexican, there's American ones, there's California ones, Australian ones, UK ones.
yeah,
There's so many,
great.
and
Yeah, they're great. Great guys.
they've always got a main group, and then they've got a buy sell trade group as well, haven't they? They always have, or a separate part. So I think for your genuine collectors, and you know you're going to get a good, you're going to get the right thing, you're going to get it at a fair price. Facebook groups 100%, because everybody there is of the same wavelength. And I've seen people as well call people out like, oh, that's too expensive, and the other person's like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize that's what it was on eBay. But of course he'd only checked what somebody put it for, not the actual selling price, and straight away he reduced it. So I think it's good, because I think again that Facebook's for real collectors, whereas eBay,
Right.
it's sellers, isn't it? Of course it is, it's sellers.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. A little shout out to one of my Facebook Transformers, the California website, the Facebook page.
I'm
They
on that one as
they
well.
really good guys, really great guys. I actually got a couple of deals from there. One was in person. I actually met with somebody in San Diego, and it was a great transition. Great bunch of guys. Again, that's what brings us back with that passion about, there's another one, Soundwave. Is it Soundwave
I'm a
Treasures?
treasure chest. Yeah.
Where treasure says, yeah, where every time sometimes have to do with raffles or razzles.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, hey, what's up? What you guys get new today? What was your Monday? How was your, and we
Yeah.
post pictures and we're like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great. Where'd you get that at? And other stories pop out, and that's great. I love it. I love seeing all the community just opening up and backing up one another.
I want to echo that as well, because I'm a member of that group, and obviously I don't live in California, so thank you for letting me gate crash your group. And yeah,
they're great. They're great guys.
Yeah, they are. They're really nice, and they've never questioned once, even though I put videos up all the time, and my accent clearly gives me away that I'm not from California. And so that just proves it. That just proves what a great group it is.
Yeah.
You're surprised what we got, all sorts of different accents here in California as well.
Right.
You were blend. If you come to live over here, you blend right in.
Right.
That's good.
I have a question for you about, really quick before time runs out here. Conventions. I know we're getting one here in our state in March, which is the TFCon convention. How are conventions over there in your neck of the woods?
Well, this is the conventions are going to be okay from this year, I believe. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't mind telling you guys. Conventions are one of my other biggest regrets, because when I was amassing all this myself, I was literally doing that. I was amassing it myself. I was collecting it, buying it all myself. And the funny thing is, my wife, bless her, and again, this is a brilliant example. She even, for my birthday or for Christmas, offered at least 2 or 3 years. Do you want the tickets? You can go. And my exact answer was, I'd rather have money for a figure. But because that was where I was back there. But they're getting better, and I can't. This is really hard for me to comment because I've not been to a proper one. I went to a really small one, like just before Christmas last year. It was brilliant though. It was absolutely brilliant. There was literally 6 stalls. That's how small it was. It was like a little town hall, a real small town hall. But what made it brilliant was it was for Transformers and G.I. Joe only. So it wasn't like a toy fair with a massive umbrella over everything. It was just Transformers and G.I. Joe. And there was probably like 3 stores each and then a mixed one. And again, that was just really good because every person in there was on the same wavelength, on the same page, people who I'd never met in person, people I didn't even know. And we just ended up chatting all day. But there's a main one in Birmingham what's the word? It's not until August over here. We don't get anywhere near as many conventions as what you guys get, and I'm definitely going to be going to that. So I'll be able to give a proper opinion and I suppose review on that when I get to go.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I suppose because the UK, obviously, let's be honest, it's tiny compared to you guys over there. I mean, you can fit the UK in Florida. That's how small the UK actually is. It's tiny, so we don't really get much. We get like a few toy fairs and things here there, but not specific. Like you get TF cons, you know, they're for Transformer people. I've been to a few in the past. They umbrella everything in the UK. They umbrella it all as toy and train fair. So you'll get there and there'll be like corgis, Matchbox, trains, and then a few like toys, but not really like what we're talking about, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to going to them soon.
That's great. And we'll look forward to those videos as well.
Yeah, yeah. And Victor can testify if you're able, if anytime, if you're planning to travel here in the States, we'll be your guides, and
Oh, it's amazing.
you have your home with us, and we guide you to all the not just the conventions, but even all the stores. There's plenty of stores that we always try to hunt, and there's a lot of that we are lucky to be in this part of the world where there's in every corner that you can find a collector store, and especially and now in Mexico where you can have there's a lot of swap meets. I mean, daily you have at least two or three minimum. So and there's a lot of people who are starting their own toy shops and stuff like that. But Transformers are little; they're not much, but you do have a lot of different kinds. And even like you said, there's Transformers cons. There's even the Power Rangers that mix with the Godzilla conventions, the Star Wars, the celebration, and especially the Comic Con. Comic Con is one of the biggest cons ever, I think, in the United States. And but every town now has their own Comic Con.
Yeah.
There's Comic Con Long Beach, Comic Con LA, Pasadena.
There's one here in my town called Imperial Valley Con, like Comic Con, and like it's a small Comic Con,
Yeah.
but I love it. I'll go and I'll show up and I'll support them. It's local people, local businesses, local. They're selling and I'll buy whatever I can. But
Yeah.
last year was canceled because last 2 years have been canceled because of the pandemic. But before that, I picked up a couple of loose Transformers from there. So it was great. I mean, but yeah, now you'll see. I think there's one actually next month in San Diego that's called Rocket Con, and and then the following month we have TF Con and so on and so on. So yeah, it's already branched out into a lot of, and we also have in LA, City of Industry, we have a place called Frankinson's. I'm not sure if you're aware of that place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge toy store, vintage.
Wow.
They had to even relocate it because it was so big.
Really?
I believe now it's where a Sam's Club. I don't know if you have Sam's Clubs, but we have Sam's Clubs where it was like a big warehouse, and they just basically put all those stores inside. It's a great. I haven't gone in a while since the pandemic hit, but I'm looking forward to going back, hopefully in the summer.
And even they branch out from there. Some people that were selling there, they made a little other little pieces like similar, not as big, but yeah, the community is getting bigger and bigger, and yeah, I mean, it's having fun. It's having fun, like Victor said, and what I'll invite you to do is you can do also community. Get your community of Transformers people and start doing. We myself, I do sometimes a Star Wars convention that's kind of growing. So with the pandemic, it kind of got in a hold, but yes, it's easy. You start getting people who like ourselves are in the same page, and you start making your own like a little. This there's even like in Mexicali they have a Hot Wheels every first of the month where they join and they put up tables, they trade and sell. So it's a good idea to everybody if you're able to gather around and start meeting more people like ourselves. And like I said, it's a joy to be able to talk to people like you guys who have the same passion it's a passion to be able
Yeah, definitely.
to share with all you guys. One more question, and this is a personal question. Um, Other than Transformers, do you collect anything else? I love Robotech myself, um, and a lot of other stuff that doesn't. The good thing, like you said, you have a tunnel vision for
Yeah.
Transformers. Myself, my tunnel was exploded, and
Yeah.
I collect everything a little bit. But the good thing that I have this channel to help me kind of like to do that part of me buying, probably buy a lot of stuff. But what else do you collect?
Honestly, I'm really, really lucky that I'm just looking around in this room now. I've got like two random Star Wars figures. Do you remember the film The Goonies? The
Yeah,
Yeah.
film.
yeah,
I've
of
got
course.
Data. I've got Data mint on seal card up there as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ada.
Yeah,
Nice.
But yeah, honestly, I've thought about it. I've had a couple of the like I said, like Marvel figures in my hands and like been like just putting them down. Again, I appreciate them. I think they're fantastic, but no, it is literally just
That's awesome.
Transformers. But the fact it's again, it's not just G1. It's like all the new stuff, like like the War for Cybertron trilogy. So although it's only Transformers, it's 30 years worth, isn't there? There's so many different branches and that masterpiece
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that. So yeah, so it keeps me busy. Keeps
Yeah.
yeah.
me busy.
Classics, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Good question.
um, yes, thank you, Victor. Something else you want to add?
I just want to personally thank Russell for being here. It's an honor to see you at least face to face,
Yeah.
finally meet you. And I'm very blessed to have friends like this
Yeah.
and new friends and older friends. But it just like right now, I just want to go and go buy some more Transformers.
Yeah.
My passion's just grown and grown as we are doing this talk, this
Yeah.
interview, this conversation. Like I told Mike right now, I picked up that wheel jack without even thinking about it. I didn't even know it was in clearance. I just bought it and like, what is this right?
Yeah.
Is this right? Um, but it just proves to me how the community of Transformers in general, Transformers, um, we are so diverse
Yeah.
within our own groups, but at the same time, we do have a common ground. And I just want to thank you, Russ, for being here. Hopefully, we'll continue with this type of friendships that
Yeah. Definitely.
across the sea, which is one of my main goals was to meet other people, not just from the United States or Mexico, but also from other countries like Canada, in Europe. I was very lucky to have gone to Europe this past summer. My son played basketball up in Portugal and Spain
Oh wow.
in a tournament, and I was able to go to some places, check them out, and it was just so friendly to be in Europe, to be in that different part of the world, and opening your eyes to diversity.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you. I really want to thank you, Russ,
No, thank you.
for being here. Hopefully we can do another show. Hopefully we can do
Yeah. Definitely.
another show. Sooner than later.
Yeah, definitely. I'm up for it. As I say, again, just apologies it took so long to get around to doing it. I love doing things like this, as you say. We're just sitting down. Again, I think what you nailed it there. We've never met in person. I've never spoke to you at all, Victor. Sorry, I've spoke to obviously Mike a couple of texts, but like we've just
Yeah.
sat down for an hour and 15 minutes, longer than that because obviously we were off air before getting to know you, and it's like we've known each other. It's like we've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what it's like, isn't it? That's the beauty of it. It's brilliant, and yeah, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Again, to me, this channel I started a year early. I'm a little younger in my channel than you, but yes, the pandemic threw me on this, and it's been a joy. And I hope you here with us, and I'm working to be and sharing to be a person to like you are ambassador of your town. I'm trying to be ambassador of friendship. That's my main goal, to
Oh, that's
have
a great one.
friends
That's very good.
all over. And thank you to extending this friendship as meeting us for the first time. And thank you again. Like Victor says, it's a pleasure Myself, one thing I want to say: this shirt, as you see, it's the um,
Oh, Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, the
Gigawatt.
Gigawatt.
gigawatt
Gigawatt.
one. But this shirt was made before. This is a shirt my father used. My father passed away about 3 years ago, and and it's something that I love and I wear only in special occasions. This is a
Oh,
special occasion for me. And thank you again. And hopefully we will do it again. And guys, I think an hour. I don't want to take you too long because, as you can imagine, and over there in Europe, it's a little bit later than here. But
yeah.
it is a pleasure to be with you, and I hope we can do it again. And thank you, guys.
And where can we find you, Russ? People might
Oh,
ask us, for our channels here.
So
sorry.
I've
Yes.
got. So yeah, until I get told off by Toys R Us, my my YouTube is it's all separate words though. So it's TOYS, separate word ARE, separate word RUSS. That's my YouTube, and my Instagram is toys_R_us. And yeah, funny if you when you post this on your channel, I'll put a comment on it as well, so everybody can put a link from mine if you want. You can put a link in the comments of yours if you want, whatever you want to do. And then
Yeah.
I'll put this on my channel as well for everybody else. And if you guys leave me your links, then I'll put them on my channel as well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
people out there, follow Russ. He's got great videos, great information. I highly recommend it. Great guy overall, and hope that we see each other soon.
Brilliant,
Okay.
guys.
Bueno, ahorita lo voy a decir en español porque acuérdense que también este es un canal latino. Entonces, este es Ross, él está en Inglaterra y es el mejor canal para que ustedes sepan de todos los Transformers que hay, las variantes y todo. Entonces, les recomendamos, como dice Víctor, ustedes entren, chequen cualquier pregunta que le quieran hacer, con gusto le traducimos. Van a tener subtítulos en esta, pero no nomás es un canal en español, también es en inglés y tratamos de hacer esto con más variedad para ustedes. Muchas gracias por estar aquí y un saludo desde español de aquí, Ross. Buenas tardes o buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches. It's night
Gracias,
here.
Ross. Gracias y gracias a todos los que están viéndonos, que esté grabado, pero muchas gracias a todos de parte de Víctor Piña y a sus servidores.
Y como saben, Mike Aguirre, Ross está ahí y pasen buenas tardes. Espero que les haya gustado este especial y nos estamos viendo a la próxima. Pasen buenas tardes y buenas noches.